Trekker here. I stopped, there was no cars, and all of a sudden there's tons of cars. Teton Mountains over here. I'm heading up Lee Creek, Tin Cup Creek Trail for my next adventure. Here it is. Cascade Trekker on another adventure. This is the end of July. The last day, I think. Jedediah Smith Wilderness, just on the opposite side of the Teton Mountain Range and the Teton National Park. This was a Forest Service Ranger suggestion to come over to these trails. Basically, it's the North Lee trailhead with Tin Cup Creek Trail looping on the Highline Teton High Ridge Trail, coming through Green Lakes and then back down the Green Mountain Trail. I had to break out of a stuck-at-home funk kind of again with fire smoke. The last few days were just horrible, unbearable. And we got some rain, some cool air came through, cleared it out last night in Idaho Falls, and it's just relatively astounding here. The forest is thick. The approach to this trailhead was probably 8 or 10 miles through the forest on the forest road. And what's awesome about this trailhead location is it almost puts you right at the wilderness's boundary. Here we got some trail signage. Alright, I'm gonna keep it down low, climbing up with the creek. I'll come down the Green Mountain Trail in a few days. Oops. Well, here's another feeder. Tin Cup Creek is down here. Amazing. Look at these open slopes up here. This open slope. Yeah, we'll find a good spot here in a little while. There's two creeks. There's one over here and one over here, the feeder I crossed. Here we are at the top of the rise. Look at these views. Hopefully I'll find some camping back here, flat spots. So far this creek drainage here has been steep. Man, amazing. I didn't think I'd get up to clearings here today. Alright, let's find a spot. Here we go. Perfect. Nice breeze. Good shade. We got the water over here. And I think the tent's going to be right here. With this view right over here. I just asked myself, am I really here? Come on now, nice. Let's get some water. This is how the backpack worked out with the bear can down here at the bottom. I've got my health bag on one side, a green health bag, and I've got my pot and alcohol stove on one side, book, extra clothing on one side, a sleeping bag, some extra clothing in here, and it seems everything else is on top. My TP, camera, another shirt layer, and my drinking water. And what usually goes on the sides, one side my water collecting bags and my hydration setup when it's not in use. Over here my two fuel containers with extra room right here for something. To add to those things stuffed down in the bottom, my rain poncho and gloves. Pretty rotten afternoon and evening. My other camera took a crap on me. It fell off of the motorcycle onto the battery pack and it won't boot. Now it's dead weight. And lastly, worstly, was a mouse, maybe two, all night trying to get into this tent. There's no food in there. The bear can was here. I had to bring the pack in. I had to bring my boots in. He was chewing on my boots. And the animals were all over in here last night. The big four-legged, most likely hooved, deer, elk, maybe moose. The first one I could hear running across this flowery meadow. There's a little bit of water in here and I heard it splash through here and I was afraid of being trampled. So I said, be careful, be careful. And then there were maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 different times through the night back here. And so then I started turning my flashlight on inside the tent to hope that they would see me. Back on the trail, and it's a well-used trail. I like the fact that this trail is somewhat popular so that the animals know people are here. Here's the pass approach destination end here. Pretty amazing. And then geez, in a little bit I'll have some new views. And there's the crest I just came over, and this is the end of that kind of buttress wall I've been following, and now it kind of edges around into a lakes basin. I haven't seen before. Awesome. I just came around the corner here, and these are the Grand Tetons. I really didn't know if I'd get a view of them or not. A bit hazy. That's because of the smoke. And look at this amazing basin back here. Just wild and rugged. And it's great. I'm going to be back here for a few days. Right here, the trail comes around. Man, it's pretty steep here. And looks like it just kind of edges along the side here, traversing. Here is a bursting grouping of mint here. So, definite mint. My last adventure, I experienced ticks and read up on it before then and brought some lavender oil. However, it didn't do exactly what I anticipated. I also heard that the ticks don't like the odor of mint. Well, I don't know how effective this is gonna be, but you know, I've got this opportunity to grab a few leaves and just rub them on my pant legs. Been a steep climb up to this lip here, and there's a drainage here. There was a very good flow earlier down another slot. My guess is from the actual lake, but you know, you never know. And we got this trail going this way. We're gonna switch up. I'm just gonna keep going around. Here it is. one of the granite lakes. I think the highest one in the Granite Lake chain up here. Just fabulous, this view. Just a little more to the top here, and I'm done climbing. And there's the top. Just fantastic, beautiful back here. Wow. This is the top here. Wasn't sure what to expect, but this is more than what I anticipated. Just these fantastic views of these sort of rolling peaks. We got some trees. This is gonna be time for camp zone location. All right, just a short ways along this fabulous plateau, I look back and I can see the highest Teton peak right here. And I said to myself, well, wouldn't it be just awesome to be up on that shelf up there with your tent with that view? Now, what's going to make that happen is, can I get some water over here? I probably got 3/4 of a liter. I want 2 more, but there's a tiny trickle coming down before this, and I'm gonna double back to see if I can get the water I want, and if I can, I'm going up there for the night. I don't think this is gonna work. For one, there are all kinds of bugs and underwater things in this little bit of water. Guess this is what I've resolved to do. Backtrack to the creek feeding that lake. Oh my God, that was so hard. I went all the way back down to that creek. But guess what? Tonight's the night up here, guys. I'm so excited. Look at this. I had a feeling, and maybe on the map it would have showed. I doubt it. Pretty small. There's something draining over there. Here's water again, but not enough to catch. And this might even be what feeds the spring for the creek draining into the bigger lake down there. Amazing. There they are, the Tetons. We'll have to get the map out and figure out which ones are which. The view might get a little better. I need to find a place for the tent in here. You know, I gotta be careful about getting too close to this side. If the wind switches coming this way. And I also would like a shade from the early sunrise. Man. This really is like no man's land up here. Goats, big elk, buck elk up here. There's a lake right down here. I gotta think bears wouldn't mind being up here right now. Just imagine, man, I made it here. Look for some pictures. Might be a little too late. Maybe not. Tent's right down there. Nasty fall right here, bro. Just an amazing view. Almost wish I would have came up in the light. Maybe in the morning. Alright, so what's happening and what's coming is like a smoke front. I can see it. Actually right now I'm slightly above it. I checked this elevation and man, it's 10,000 feet or more here. What an incredible night last night up here. The most important thing to happen was closing the tent. It was after dark and I had my headlamp on. Well, I just saw this floating bird or bat or something right in here. And it was huge, and instantly I knew it was an owl, and it just kind of came around this way and circled around, and I had my flashlight on and I was talking to it, and it circled right above my head, and I could see it looking at me, and it was like a round-headed, white-colored owl, which I think to be a snowy owl. Alright? Two of them. And of course they're floating around here playing their mating games, and the big one, the male, landed on this top of this dying dead tree twice, but both times that it flew right over, we were looking right at each other in our eyes. It's like we were marveling at each other. And what an amazing, you know, chain of events for me to decide to come up here and spend the time up here and have our paths cross. And so I was talking to him, and just for a couple minutes, they were just doing their chasing mating games, and the female took off down the top of the ridge, and he followed. It's been a while since I've had some owl company, and that just filled my cup right up. Also, it seemed like this place was just bustling with animal activity. The four-legged hoofed creatures again. I could hear them like trotting up, running up, maybe half a dozen times, and I would turn my light on in my tent and say, "Be careful, I'm camped here." About ready to start hiking for the day. Very low-key traveling today. The trail is, maybe a half mile down this way. What I'm gonna do is just stay up at this elevation and traverse along, crossing a couple drainages, and the third drainage I'll stop at. Yeah, and the smoke has kind of crept in. Look, our visage of these Teton peaks is now hazy, this close. I can't really smell it, but what I think is that I'm like immune to it. Nice basin here with a lot of water. Looks mostly standing. The spring back here and draining down that way. Still gonna just run along this saddle here. Here's a feeder right here. Real nice. Down to this basin. Yeah, this could do if I needed water. Now here's this saddle crest. Look at this one here. Magnificent, look at that. Fabulous view here. I'm almost to the end of this saddle. Snowfields, snow melt. For a vantage point, I see water. Looks like it's draining to the right. Standing water. I might just go over this way. Still, you know, with these dropping granite shelves, still unsure about the trail location through here. The bottom line is I've got tons of food, tons of time. You know, the worst case scenario is I go all the way back to where I left the trail. I know how to get there. So this is the deal. I'm just gonna drop down to this water draining. Okay, got the water. I could barely hear it over here from up there. And remember, I crossed that decent water up there. I had to think that, and also that kind of basin. This has got to be the drain from that basin. And now we just want to find a shaded spot. The sun's gonna go this way, but it's gonna be a while. Here's the lake I'd mentioned earlier. Yeah, I can't see the trail now, but it's on the other side. Going across this way, I'm pretty sure. Here's an established spot. This is one I was looking at from up above, with some tent location possibilities. Not shaded here. You've got mosquitoes. It's one of these things where I'm just gonna decide real soon and just call it. There's a great view of this lake and this mountain. Alright, my camp is back in there. There's the lake. I walked over here to look at this spot. I might relocate my camp here. All my water needs have been taken care of. Washing socks and a pair of underwear. And there's, I think it's Green Lake over here. Here's another big lake, the one I'd spotted from up here. And the trail comes through here. Don't know exactly where it goes, but tomorrow I'm thinking the trail goes this way. Gonna go a couple miles this way tomorrow and check out another lake. Yeah, there's a real nice breeze here, and the bugs are not intense. Relocated. I didn't make it hard, I made it easy with 2 trips, not having to pack everything up real good. Before I came up this last time, I completely rinsed my shirt. Feels great. Clean my face and my arms. And now, man, we've got lots of time. I'd love to take a nap right now. Yeah, it's morning up here. And the wind really picked up last night. It was crazy because it completely died in the afternoon. I had shade here. It was nice. But the mosquitoes just swarmed. And it was after dark. They were all over this tent. Okay, I've come to a very comfortable resolution, and that is, this is basically an immersion trip. Okay, so the magical event 2 nights back with the owls, destiny, fate, part of this immersion. Alright, so the next phase, just down this crest, the trail, I can actually see it. It looks so inviting. The green space back there, most likely flower, covered area. That saddle has hopefully water draining in it. That's my destination. And that will be my last night of immersion. And then I'll return back tomorrow. Yeah, this is nice to see. Here's the first basin had to come through, and I was up here yesterday, and if I'd continued that Crest walk, a perfect shelf right there to come and deposit me here in this bit of a rocky jut is the one I wanted to go around. This is the water source on my map. The next very, very unlikely location for water is a mile further, which doesn't bother me that much. I'd like to continue, but in my mind I'll have to carry my water for the next day and a half. Yeah, I guess I'm carrying water, and there's a climb here. It can't be all that much, and from there it's pretty flat and even, and I'm adding 4 pounds to my pack. It's not a happy sight. Look at this. Massive drop off. Yeah, and this is the direction I came from. It's where I've been the last few days over in this area. And this is this mound of rocks that I thought I would have to go below, but there's no way this trail would allow for it down here. And so this, somewhere in here, hopefully is going to be where I set up camp. You know, it could be further. And yeah, there's water running here. I hear it and I see it. Just don't know where it's coming down from. Maybe here. So carrying all this water was pretty much for naught. Yeah, I guess there's water to be had here. Doesn't look like it's moving. There might be some in here. Better safe than sorry, I guess. I'm looking at that shelf there for a camp, maybe. Pretty amazing. Be talking to myself in here for sure. It's coming from the snow here. Chalk it up to being in training. And the pack doesn't feel horrible. It's heavy. You know, I knew it was going to be a short run. Somewhere up in here I'll be finished. Yeah, and this is a pretty cool place to be. Here's more, a bunch more. I wonder if this even dries up at the end of the season. Well, that's okay. You know, this could give me a chance to clean up myself if I need to. I'm set with clean clothes to get out. 2 more days worth of clean clothes. This shade is about perfect here. If only I can maybe work this here a little. I bet I can work this right here into a place for my tent. There it is. Built up this side with a lot of loose duff. And here this branch is just kind of supporting this corner of the frame. We'll stake out the rest of it, and I think that's going to do it. Alright, I'm camped back in this last basin over here, and I'm just out for a walk along the Crest trail. See what's up back here. Nice distant peaks. Big clouds here. I don't think they're gonna crack open. Not today. This is where I did it last night. Some light sprinkles. I had almost anticipated it preparing the tent. Mosquitoes just roosting over the tent. Horrible night last night, like 2 stretches of 2 to 3 hours of sleep, if that. But nice day, nice and cool right now. We're gonna head out, probably 7.5 miles. I've got 2 uphill stretches, this one being the first one, and the second one, can't really see for sure. You can see that wall of rock over there. The trail comes up around kind of a draw on the right. Then I go up. And the clouds, they're here this morning, building. Back there looks a little dark and menacing. I'm going to be, hopefully, at the motorcycle by the time any rain comes. A great adventure, a great trip out here. Amazing immersion. Alright, this is Green Lake proper. I took a different trail from the upper lake that connected me to the main exit trail. I can see the other trail on the opposite side of the lake there. And just a short while ago, I was just beyond that sort of light brown rocky mass and hiked across this way. Yeah, I had to climb from down here up to the top. Glad that's done. And I'm exactly even with my high starting point this morning. And these clouds aren't looking so friendly here. I'll be glad to get down. Heading down this way, I guess, down to the bottom of this canyon. Here's the last intersection. This is the one I went up. Tin Cup Trail, Green Mountain Trail coming down this way. And boy, I wouldn't want to be up there on those open slopes right now. And here's a berry I would like to identify. Looks like they grow on the tops of the leaves. They're right. Heading back to the motorcycle now, and it's just starting to sprinkle. Perfect timing. Trip totals probably 18 miles and maybe 6,000 feet elevation change. Cascade Trekker adventure out.
Into